friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today we're making a fun fold called a tri-panel stand-up card. 3 panels and it stands up on its own. We're going to be using the Bloom by Bloom photopolymer stamp set that's in the Occasions catalog, and we're also going to be using the All Adorned stamp set. Now this is a celebration gift with purchase. When you make a $50 purchase, you can get this stamp set for free. It has this neat corner edging here, but I'm using this sentiment, "You are pretty much the best ever," on this card. But not only is that stamp set awesome because of the big, bold images in it that are solid colored, it also has this beautiful paper in the suite, and it's the Happiness Blooms paper. Look at all of these beautiful, bright colors here. You've got these big, bold prints here, and then you've got some more subtle, small patterned that can coordinate with the front of them. So this is a beautiful paper, and it also has these Happiness Blooms enamel dots in there that we're also going to put on and give that little bit of something something on the front of the card. Okay, so this is super simple to make. We just need a piece of Call Me Clover, or any color you decide to make. On this card, we're using Call Me Clover. I pulled that out of the paper. I love it with the paper. I can just put all the pieces of all shades of the colors out and the ink, and I can just go quickly design a card. Call Me Clover. It's going to be an 8.5 by 5.5. 8.5 by 5.5, just the half of a sheet of your cardstock, and we're going to score it. So I scored it at 1.5, 2 3/4, 5 3/4, and 7 on that 8.5 in each side. So just put it into your Stampin' trimmer, put it up against the raised portion, and do 1.5, 2 3/4, 5 3/4, and 7 inches. Remember, all of the measurements and the basic directions with the colors and the materials I use are on my blog. Underneath my photo, there's a search box, and just put in the name of the stamp set. You could put in Bloom by Bloom, or All Adorned. And if you put that search under the name of the stamp set I used, you'll find that card pop up and you can see that. Okay, so let's get started here. We're going to just fold our card the way, it's kind of like an accordion fold, the way we would have, well, that doesn't make sense. I have to fold it this way. Silly girl. There we go. Now that is the basic card. You've got this panel that's in the front, and then you have these 2 side panels. So these 2 side panels are where we're gonna add some color here with the Designer Series paper. And I love this pattern because it has all kinds of colors in it. So you can just take these pieces, and these are 1 1/4 inch pieces, because these panels are 1.5, so we just went into an 1/8 of an inch on the 2 sides, and then we just put that on the side there. So those 2 strips again are 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Just put a little bit of your favorite adhesive. You could use Tombow, you could use your snail, whatever you like to use there. Okay, so we have got our 2 panels done, and now we're going to work on this front panel. You're going to use Whisper White to be stamping on, and you're going to have a 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I went ahead and used my Stamparatus to do this because I wanted to make it, sometimes when you're working with a photopolymer, you want the image, you want to stamp it again in case it didn't go the whole way through. So what I'm going to do is use my Stamparatus, and I just played around first with a piece of scratch paper. Oh, it looks like I got some ink on me. So let's just turn this one over here. I'm glad I caught that before I actually stamped. Do you notice anytime you're stamping with dark colors, it seems to get everywhere? So what we're going to do is ink up the bloom. And I'm using Night of Navy. That's the blue that's in this paper. And I am going to stamp down the bloom. Hold it in place so it sinks into the paper. Beautiful. Now I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off. And I placed my leaves on the other side of my plate. Great thing about this Stamparatus, you can use all the different sides of it. So now what we're going to do is ink up the leaves with our Call Me Clover. New stamp set. Takes a little time to get used to them, girls and guys. Okay, we're going to ink that up with Call Me Clover. I see a little piece of lint here that I'm catching. Good thing to catch it now before I stamp. And then we'll just ink this up. Looks like everything, I think I have a little edge there too. Sometimes the new ink pads have a little bit of that white plastic when they're first getting used. So let's just now put down the leaves. There we go. Perfect. So we're going to set aside the Stamparatus. Whoa, that hit the metal thing on my desk. Okay, so now we're just going to do a little bit more stamping on here. So we're going to add some more color. We're going to use the yellow, that's the Pineapple Punch, the new in color, and we're going to put these little dots here up above the flower. Now what I did on this card, ink up, little stamp, little taps, and then I put, how did I do that? I kind of put like in the divot of the flower, I made some yellow dots and then some more little taps here. And this time I turned my stamp up the other way. And then I've added some Pineapple Punch to the card. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up this other really pretty flower that's in Calypso Coral, another color that's in the designer paper. See, I'm just pulling out the colors that I see in my designer paper. Makes designing so easy. Everything coordinates. So I'm going to put that Calypso Coral right on the right side of my flower. And then I'm going to use another color that's prevalent in that paper. That is the Lovely Lipstick. And Lovely Lipstick, oh, I love this color. I can't get enough of Lovely Lipstick. And the cardstock is so pretty. So little tiny stamp, little tiny taps. And then I just scattered a couple of these around just to kind of fill in some of the white space. There we go. And then we are going to, I think what we're going to do is adhere this to our card now. So we're going to turn this over, put some snail on our card, on the panel on the back. Then we're going to kind of flatten the card out and put it right in the middle so that we have a 1/8 inch border around that middle panel that's 3 inches. This panel here, this measures 3 inches, and this is 2 3/4. So we've got that there. Now we're going to be using, look at this pretty new punch. This punch became available, it might have just been this week or maybe 2 weeks ago, but it's the Story Label Punch. The Story Label Punch, it's going to be a really great punch for a lot of different sentiments that we have. And punching, as you know, is just super fun because you don't have to use the Big Shot or anything. And we're going to be using the You Are Pretty Much the Best Ever. And I decided to use the Lovely Lipstick for this. And so I'm just going to ink it up. Sorry if I'm moving my table. And I'm just going to put it in the middle of a piece of white. This is a time you can go in your scrap box and find a piece of white that's in there that'll fit. And then I'm just going to open up my punch. And this is, I think, the easiest way to do it. If you just put it in and get it to where you, and just close it a little bit, not like you're going to cut it, and just play around and see where do I want to have that. This is a great sentiment that fits in perfectly. And then do my punch. And there we go. We've got our label. Now I wanted to jazz up this label a little bit and add in some more yellow. with the pineapple punch. So what I did is I punched out 2 of these, and then I just layered them. Normally I would cut it in half, but the way this punch is, if I would have cut it in half, I might have had something show, but I just kind of eyeballed it a little bit and put it down on there. And then I put some here to do around the top. So it's a little more sturdy than normally, but I was afraid if I cut it in half, I might see an edge there. So in this case, I went ahead and just used 2 of them. Isn't that just pop beautifully off the card? And then what I did is I popped it up with some dimensionals. My dimensionals, here they are. We are going to use up some of these scraps that are always laying around. I got a whole bin of these pieces of dimensionals that need used up. Don't ever throw those out. So we're just going to take off the protective covering off the back of our dimensionals, and we're just going to pop that onto the bottom of the card. Now I thought it just needed a little bit something else, so I took out my Happiness Blooms enamel dots, and I thought, I have yellow, let's put another pop of yellow. So then I just put the yellow pineapple punch, pick it up, slippery little fella, and I popped it in these lovely lipstick tiny flowers. I played around with it and I stuck Calypso Coral in there, but it just didn't look right. And then I noticed all of these flowers have yellow in them, so it really coordinated well. So we'll just pop another enamel dot in there, get it so it's in the middle. And then I thought, I bet blue would be here. A nice navy would pop off there. So then I used, these enamel dots come in three different sizes. So I'm actually using the smallest ones, but I'm sure when I run out of the small ones, I'm going to be diving into the, it looks like a little guy, one of those dancing flowers. Remember those things that used to dance back and forth? Oh gosh. So there we go. And I'm going to push that one down a little bit so it covers up. So it just gave a little bit of a pop of navy there on the front of the card. And then all we have to do is, of course, if you give this card to somebody, they're like, where do you write? So that's going to be on the back here. That's one of my issues whenever I make fun fold cards. You always have to have a place to write. So we have another piece of 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And what we're going to do for this one is we are going to stamp. Well, let's look at the one. We're going to just stamp a little bit of flowers on the inside. Okay, so we have another flower that is just smaller than this larger flower. So we are going to ink up in navy. We're going to ink up that little flower. Whoop, shake, shake, shake. Let me get a little bit more. And let's bring this back here. Okay. Nice thing about photopolymers, you can see how much ink is getting on them. So there we go. I'm going to put the blue flower there. Very nice. And then I'm going to use the smaller leaf, and I have a little ink on the edge of my block. So we're going to use Call Me Clover. Put that navy out of the way. Call Me Clover. Fun little story. The reason why this acrylic block is all cloudy. My lovely mother-in-law, who passed away in September, always when she was down visiting us in the winter, would say, Cindy, what can I do to help you with your stamping? And if anybody knows me and the way I like to do things, I'm like, well, I don't think you can cut my paper for me, but you could clean my blocks. So I told her how to do it, to to clean them off with soap and water, but she decided to take and wrap them in rubbing alcohol. And so I left her for an hour. I came back and she had, trying to get the adhesive off, she wrapped it in fingernail polish remover or something crazy like that. And like 4 of my blocks were, this one actually was salvaged, but now I couldn't throw them away, and I keep it under the sink in my craft room. And I think of my sweet mother-in-law that is not with me anymore, but I think of her all the time whenever I look at those blocks. So here we go. We're going to put a lovely lipstick posy there, and we're going to put a little cutie pie in Calypso Coral. And so we're going to ink up that little one, little stamp, little taps, and we'll just pop that little guy here. There we go. We've decorated the inside. Okay, and then all we have to do is put a little snail on the back of here. I love making cards that are just a little bit different. Just something that isn't your run-of-the-mill, open like a book card. So this one is a super quick one. And we're just going to put this on this side here. There we go. Nice border around there. And we've got the inside that you can write your message here. And actually, if you were so inclined to do, if you weren't, you know, too stingy with your paper, you could also put this same patterned paper on this side, so when they're reading the message, they'd see the pattern paper here. But I decided just to put it on the front. But I think that would look pretty on that side. So super simple card, a tri-panel stand-up card using the Bloom by Bloom stamp set. And the new stamp set that's available for Celebration, the All Adorned, the best ever that I used on that. If you have any questions, you can always go to my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com. You can email me, cindyleeb@gmail.com. You can call or text me. I love to hear from you. 724-323-2296. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.